I know. I'm like shaking. This is so incredible. Oh my gosh. In today's video, we are going to be revisiting the most magical Goodwill in all of the land. We are going back to the Avondale Goodwill. Now, it's been a few years since I was there last, and some things have changed, some things have not. One thing that has not changed is that it is still one of the most magical Goodwills in all of the land. And most recently, I had one of the best Goodwill hauls that I have had in a very long time. So I'm going to share that with all of you and show you some of the amazing finds that I picked up during our most recent trip to the Avondale Goodwill. Here we go. So of course the first thing I spotted was this darling figurine here, but unfortunately he had a pretty sloppy repair. Second was this tree reading a book. I'm not really sure what its purpose was, but it was interesting. And then the vase with the applied flowers that seem to always be broken. Really cute. I kind of like that. That's probably part of a Lazy Susan set. And unfortunately, it's just one piece, but who knows? Maybe the rest are somewhere on the shelf, so I'm gonna grab it. And I'm gonna stick it in here. Yeah, baby. What did Daddy find? A Harry Potter wand. Apparently those can be worth...
I was just thinking that, yeah.
Some of them can be worth money, I think.
New battery.
Laurel. What?
Boop.
Mommy,
Stick.
Bippity, boppity.
Daddy found a stick.
Stick.
Here is a cow with a broken tail. I think this is for potpourri or something. And then a trinket box. And surprisingly, the flowers on this trinket box are not broken. And so I grabbed it and stuck it in my cart. That is a gorgeous. What is happening on this cart? That's all polished pottery. As soon as we walked in the door, we obviously came across that cart that was overflowing with treasures. Treasures like the Polish pottery. And this was the first piece I grabbed. Now, this is marked on the bottom. It is marked Blue Celestial Flowers. And I have not been able to find a comp on this. I've looked on eBay, I've looked on WorthPoint. I can't find another one like it. Does that make it rare? I don't know. Now, in addition to this piece right here, I grabbed a few others. In fact, we had to actually go and get a second cart. Here is another covered dish that we snagged off the cart. This piece is not marked with a pattern name on the bottom, but it is gorgeous and it is quite large. This is obviously a little smaller, but I love the pattern on it. It's got those beautiful blues and florals. Very pretty for spring or summer. So a little bit smaller, but just as beautiful. Now, unfortunately, one of the Polish pottery baking dishes that we snagged off the cart was damaged. Now, I'm not sure that in the frenzy we weren't checking them over and we missed it, or if in our trip to Cape May and back it was somehow damaged in the transport. They were packed pretty well, I'm not sure. But as you can see on the bottom of this guy, which was my favorite, there is some damage right here, which I didn't notice until I went to clean it. So that's why the lines are a little bit darker, because some water seeped in. So that is a real bummer. I'm not sure if I will try to sell the lid because the lid is good. It's possible somebody out there in the universe broke their lid and needs a replacement, but I feel like the dish itself is probably shot. It's $24.99 each, but holy smokes. Now, I paid $25 a piece for these Polish baking dishes, which some might say is a little expensive for Goodwill, but considering that they sell anywhere from $100 to $150 a piece, depending on the pattern, depending on the size, I'd say that I could still make a little bit of money on the dishes, and I am a reseller. I am willing to pay up on items at the Goodwill when I know that I can still make a little bit of profit. And if I were a collector, if I were buying them for myself, that's a good bargain. So I'm pretty pleased with those Polish pottery dishes. Now let's see what else we grabbed off the cart. It's fun. All right, that's a vintage snifter.
Are you sure?
Let's see what's on this. This is $12.99. I'm curious what this says on the bottom. No, this is Port Marion.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's all Port Marion. Grab it. Quick. I know. I'm like shaking. This is so incredible. Oh my gosh. So you're probably wondering how much this Port Marion Birds of Britain soup tureen is worth. We only paid $12.99 for it. It last sold for $279. Last year, the most it sold for was around $400, and the average seems to be around $200. So that's pretty exciting. So we actually thought this plate was the underplate for the soup tureen, but as it turns out, this is a dinner plate. So this is the Birds of Britain dinner plate, similar to how we have the botanic pattern. There is also a Birds of Britain pattern. The soup tureen is part of that pattern. This is a dinner plate. On WorthPoint, the sales aren't very recent, but on eBay, this plate sells for about $40 to $50. So that's pretty exciting. Now there are some utensil scratches on it, and you always have to take condition into account, especially when you're dealing with plates and bowls and mugs, because those utensils will scratch them. So that may take some of the value off, but it's a pretty exciting find. And then these are all Port Marion. Those bowls and plates are all Port Marion. So for those of you who have been with the channel any length of time, you probably know that when we find Port Marion china, we usually pick it up. This was no exception. The cart was overflowing with Port Marion china. There was a full set of dinner plates, salad plates, and bowls. From having sold the dinner plates a number of times in the past, I know they sell on average from about $15 to $20 a piece. So were they a tremendous score? Probably not, but they're still fun to pick up. And you know, those smaller sales do add up. So they weren't a soup tureen, but you know, they sell. They have good sell-through, so they were a good pickup. Now, I'm a sucker for Mexican pottery, and this was a little dish, but I grabbed it anyway. Andrew spotted the Satsuma, but the price was a little bit high for resale, and so we left it behind. And even though this little lusterware creamer was cute, it did have a bit of damage on it, as well as these gnomes. They were damaged. Right there. Now, in addition to finding all of those really fun baking dishes, we also found this napkin holder on the cart, and we paid $9.99 for it. Now, it's kind of an odd pattern because in Polish pottery, you see a lot of blues. This napkin holder is obviously red and gray, and it's a pattern that I could not find a comp on. Now, it is signed on the bottom. It is marked Polish pottery. The average napkin holder typically sells between $20 and $30, and I'm going to assume that this one is also probably worth between that. Now, granted, the pattern could be a rarer pattern. It could go higher than that, or possibly lower than that, but I'm going to lean towards the average and say that it's probably worth around that. So I love what somebody did with this piggy bank by adding the eyelashes. I thought it was a really nice touch. They also added some fake flowers, but there was just too much damage there to really make it worthwhile. We have a bag of dogs, of course. No Goodwill is complete without a bag of dogs. I thought maybe this vase was vintage, but when I turned it over, I saw that contemporary sticker on the bottom. And as I was walking by the vases, these caught my eye. And at first, I thought that they were black clay. Juliet found foot cream. And of course, I stuck them in my cart. Well, in addition to finding some of those big ticket items with high returns, we also found some lower ticket items with low returns. But those small profits do add up, and I'm oftentimes just as excited to find some of those smaller profit items as I am the big ticket items. So one of my favorite finds was this. And at first, when I found it, I did think that it was black clay, but after a little research, I found that this is in fact soapstone, which I don't pick up very often, but I loved the contrast between the color and the black. It is an oil diffuser, and these usually sell between $12 and $18. We paid $2.99, and we found 2 of them. So they were $2.99 each, and we're not gonna make a ton of money on them, but like I said, those small profits do add up, and these were a few of my favorite small ticket finds. Fun on the fresh carts. There's a few made in China vases. There's a decanter in the back. Luminarc. Look at that kitty. I think that's a cookie molds. Crowning Touch, made in Taiwan. I used to pick those up all the time out of nostalgia, but I quickly found that nostalgia does not usually equal that there is resale value. Lots of little baggies. The cow creamer. He's got damage on his ear though, probably because of these shelves. I'm just gonna lay him down. The monsters are back there. You don't want to go back there. That's where the employee monsters are. Rawr. They're like dragons. Laurel, did we do pretty good? No. No? I think so. Okay. Okay, let's see what we can find over here. Do you see anything? Oh, there's a cute little creamer. Oh, it's got a chip on it. Bummer. And here's another creamer. This is Czechoslovakia. It has a faux wood finish. I love Czech pottery, but I've picked up a lot of pottery so far this trip, and I decided to leave that one behind. Now we're scanning the mugs, looking for anything special. Here's part of an acro agate child set with the eagle marking on the bottom. It's not slag glass though, it's just yellow. I don't know if it was slag, I might have picked it up.
Okay, Mommy. There he is. There's
Do you see Daddy?
Hey, Juby. Hello, Daddy.
You see him? Is he down there?
Every single time that she goes, Daddy, Daddy, she's like shaking the cart. And
I know, everything's shaking. She's excited. That's really kind of cute. I'm not sure if, oh yeah, it's all wood. It's like a lacquer and then hand painted. It's a photo frame. That's really cute and handmade. This is another favorite that may have snuck under the radar, but I loved the hand painting on this little frame. It has butterflies and florals on it. And it is a little picture frame. Completely handcrafted out of wood. Not a big ticket item, but I think there's a little value there. You know, that's so funny. I thought I saw lucite when I walked in, but I was like, nah, there's no way. There is a way. It is lucite. It's a lucite butterfly napkin holder.
She's yelling at you.
Hi!
No, Mommy.
You want to hold that?
Uh-huh.
Okay, hold it tight. Look at that little cutie. I think she needs to come with us. You can't hold that one, Laurel. You'll break it. And then he is supposed to have shakers, but they don't appear to be anywhere on the cart. I take that back. I think these might be his little barrels. I think that's what those are. So $1.99 and $1.99. I think that's worth grabbing. This was another one of my favorite finds. Juliet noticed it Andrew noticed it, and then of course I was the last one to notice it sitting there on the shelf, but I could not leave this behind. It was such a cute little weirdo bird. Now I think this may be a creamer. There are no markings on the bottom, but it does look to be vintage. The price on this was $2.99, and he was just too cute to leave. My guess on this would be $12 to $18, but you guys know I do love my weirdos, so he came home with us. All right, 2 carts. Laurel's gonna help pack. Oh, she's not. Now in our frenzy to pull things off the cart, one thing I forgot to show you guys was this covered dish here. This is a covered dish of some sort for baking. We paid $12.99 for this, and it is from France. You can see it has birds on the front and again on the back, and it sells for about $75. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video from the most magical Goodwill in all of the land. Even after all of these years, it still proves to be magical. Our total spend was $199, and I feel like even with that high spend, we have the potential to make over $1,000 in profit after all of those big ticket items, those little small tchotchkes. I think we're gonna do all right. Now, if you'd like to purchase any of the items you saw in today's video, you can find them over on knickknacks.net. That's NIKNAX.net, which I will put up here for you guys. You can go to that website. That is my own marketplace, which I have created for all of you. It is a community of buyers and sellers and collectors, and I've opened it up to all of my friends. So I invite you to come and check it out. I would love to have you join us. There are over 3,000 sellers and over 23,000 members, and we're all having a wonderful time. There's live sales, there's buy it now listings, and there are multi-day auctions. So check out the link down below in the YouTube description, and I will see all of you tomorrow. So long.
Join us on knickknacks.net, where you can browse over 58,000 listings. Check out multi-day auctions or live sales now, featuring
Airplane,
Mexican pottery, antique collectibles, ooh, it glows, vinyl records, hand-blown glass, and furs. Find what you're looking for on knickknacks.net.